having one source of income is way too close to having none. I am able to quit my job and know that YouTube money will support me, or my stock portfolio will support me, my real estate portfolio will support me. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. My name is Reni, and on this channel I make content around finance, fashion, lifestyle, and career. So today's video is really exciting, and we're going to be talking about finance and career. So we're going to be merging the two topics, which are some of my favorite topics, and we're going to combine them, okay? So today we're going to be talking about how you can financially prepare to leave your job. I actually recently left my job, and I'll leave that video up here if you're interested in watching it. But yeah, I recently left my job, but I didn't just quit with no plan or anything. I made sure that I would be able to financially support myself, even if I was not able to make money for a while. So I'm gonna go through that and some of the steps that you should take before you quit your job to ensure that you will be financially able to support yourself even when you have no job. So today I'm actually going to go through 8 things that you should do before you quit your job so you are set financially. Right now we're going through this thing that someone has coined the Great Resignation, and it is like it's a very real thing. Like, people are quitting their jobs left, right, and center. Some people with a plan, some people with no plan at all. But I think the one thing that people aren't really talking about is, what do they do after? Like, how are they able to support themselves if they have no job lined up? I haven't really seen anyone talking about that. So because I just quit, I wanted to make sure that I'm telling you exactly how I prepared for it, so that nobody goes and follows me and quits and it says, wait, I can't live, I can't support myself. Nah, that's not on me still. I am teaching you exactly how I financially prepared to quit. The first thing that I suggest doing to help you financially support yourself while you have no job is to build up an emergency fund. If you do not have an emergency fund, the answer is no. You probably cannot afford to quit your job and have no job for the meantime. So if you haven't learned what an emergency fund is, I've talked about it on my channel, so you can watch this video. I won't go into depth in this video. It's basically a savings account that you have cash in, and it's 3 to 6 months of your expenses that is held here. For example, if it costs $4,000 a month for my normal living expenses, like my mortgage, my food, my car, things like that, then I'm going to calculate 3 to 6 months. So if it's 3 months, $12,000, right? If it's 6 months, $24,000 that you're going to be saving in cash, just so that if you do not get a job, or if you're not able to make money in those next 3 to 6 months, you are still able to protect yourself and provide for yourself. You're not struggling in those months that you do not have a job. This is really what I mean by saying money does not buy happiness, but it buys you freedom. It buys you the freedom to be able to quit if you want to quit, because you know that, okay, I can support myself for the next 6 months. Even if I don't make a dime, I'll still be covered. So for this, just make sure that you calculate how much it currently costs you to live. Don't guesstimate, don't estimate. Look in the past 3 to 6 months and see how much did it cost me to pay all of these essential bills over the past 3 to 6 months, and then save that amount in a high interest savings account. One of my favorite high interest savings accounts is EQ Bank's high interest savings account, and I do have an affiliate link. So if you do want to check them out, I will leave it in the description box below. If you use my link, they will know that I am the one that sent you. So I'd really appreciate if you do use my link to open your account. So in my personal experience, I built up a savings account to $5,000. This is not 3 to 6 months of expensive, but it is what I felt comfortable with. I like to invest a lot of my money. So yeah, most of my money was invested. But what I did as well is I made sure that my employee share ownership plan, so at my job, I made sure that it was as much as possible, and I built it up to a point where I feel comfortable. So I've been working full-time at the company for 3 years. So once I decided, okay, I'm gonna quit, I looked into my employee share ownership plan, and I actually had $25,000 of shares in my account. So $25,000 is a pretty sizable fund, if you asked me, to hold you over for a few months. So I was like, okay, I feel really comfortable leaving my job because I have $25,000 plus this $5,000 that if anything happened, if I could not make any money for the past 6 months, at least I have this amount of money. And for the $25,000, it is in shares, so I would have to sell them if I wanted to use that money, but no big deal. It's very easy to sell them because they're in my tax-free savings account. If you want to learn more about how I maximize my ESOP, I also have a video right here that you can learn, and I have been maximizing it since the day that I joined the company. So my second tip would be to plan to live on less. I think that a lot of people don't know exactly what goes into their bank account each month and what comes out of their bank account each month. It's just like they're going on vibes and inshallah. In my opinion, you should figure out exactly what goes into your account each month and what comes out by starting to budget. So if you don't budget yet, just start right now and try to figure out exactly what comes into your account each month. So what income comes in and what expenses come out each month. I know that when I first started budgeting, I realized that I spent a ridiculous amount of money on my food. So that was somewhere that I could cut back on because I know that I'm about to quit my job. Just like obviously with your fixed expenses, you can't really cut back on those, but for some things such as like an expensive phone bill, subscriptions that you don't need, a gym membership that you probably don't use, those sort of things, you can maybe cut back on them before you quit, just so that you have a little extra room and you're cutting down on the non-essential expenses. Obviously, if these things are important to you, these are things that you want to make sure you include in that 3 to 6 months of emergency expenses so you can prepare for them even when you leave, and you'll be able to cover them even when you leave. So in my case, I was already budgeting, so it was easy for me to know how much I needed each month to prepare myself and what I could cut down on. But another thing that I did was I knew that I had upcoming bills coming up in the future. So for example, I have a property that I own, and I know that my property tax, one of my payments is due October 31st. I quit my job and my last day was October 1st. So I knew after October 1st, I'm not getting a paycheck anymore, right? So I made sure that I already paid off those bills in advance. So when I did have money a few months ago, I made sure to pay off those bills in advance so I would feel comfortable leaving my job and knowing that these huge bills that are coming up, I don't have to pay them because I've already paid them. So that's my tip for this. Make sure that you are looking at your expenses, create a budget, and then do what you need to do. Cut down some areas or increase your income in other areas. The third thing that I suggest before you leave your job, just to make sure that you are financially able to leave your job, is to pay off high interest debt. I know this one can be a little hard because obviously it can be a bit of a task to pay high interest debt, but if you do have high interest debt, for example, a credit card that you have payments on, you really should be paying that off before you have zero income, or else the debt is just going to be eating and eating and eating and eating. It's just gonna become overwhelming. So if you do have high interest debt, I would say pay off as much as you can before you do leave, or at least make sure that you're able to make payments while you have no income coming in, or a lower amount of income coming in. So what I mean by this is including in your budget, this payment to your credit card is now part of your fixed expenses, and you're going to add it to your budget each month. So it's a debt that you have to pay no matter what, and you're budgeting that into tip 1, which I said was your emergency fund. So you're making sure that you have money in there as well. Tip 4, this is something that I did. Tip 4 is to give a long period of notice. So if you are someone who is quitting without a plan or without something that you're going to be doing next, you may want to give advance notice. So what I did was I gave actually 3 weeks notice, because I knew that if I gave 3 weeks notice, I would have 2 more pay cycles that I would get paid for. So instead of giving a normal 2-week notice, I gave 3 weeks, so I would have my first pay cycle and then a second pay cycle, and I got paid for 2 of them. This is a trick that you can use, or you can also make sure that you get paid out for your vacation days. So instead of taking your vacation days, you just get paid out for them when you leave. So this is just a way to make sure that you have a bit of extra money, extra paychecks before you quit. So instead of giving the standard 2-week notice, you're just giving a little extra. You get a little more coin in your pocket before you're on your own and you're solo. The 5th tip that I have, and I always tell everyone this, and I made sure that I did it, is to use all of your benefits and employee resources while you are still there. Your work likely has benefits that they give you for being an employee there, and I want you to use every single one of them. Do not skimp out, use every single benefit that you have, because the reality is that when you are unemployed, you likely don't have any benefits except for the ones that maybe are given by your local government, right? So if I wanted to get new glasses, for example, or if I wanted to get my eyes checked, I would have to pay out of pocket for that. However, I made sure that before I left, I got my eyes checked, I went to the dentist, I got massages, did therapy, like every single possible thing that I could do in that period of time. I did it because wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna be paying for it out of pocket after I left. If you're giving a month's notice, every week I want you to book an appointment for your dentist, I want you to book an appointment to get a massage, I want you to book an appointment for your chiropractor, your eye doctor, every single thing you can do, just so that you're not paying out of pocket for it. Another thing is your work resources. So if your work, like mine did, has access to courses, for example, or you have access to LinkedIn Learning, which you would otherwise pay for, make sure make sure that you're using it, okay? Make sure that you're using all the free access that you have offered to you, because when you leave that company, automatically you don't have access to those courses anymore for free. Now you're gonna have to pay out of pocket for them. Especially if your company is willing to pay for like third-party courses, take every single one of them. You do have to be careful in this situation, because sometimes if you leave before a certain period of time after taking the course, they'll make you pay the money back. So sometimes they say, okay, you have to stay for at least 6 months after you take this course, and then and then we will pay for it and it's all covered by us. But if you leave before 6 months, then you have to pay them back. So just be wise about that. Take the free courses that are available to you. And if you're planning well in advance to quit, just take those courses, and then after that time period or the grace period, then quit after that. The sixth thing that I think you should do before you quit, just to make sure you're financially able to quit, is develop another source of income. I currently have 5 sources of income, I believe, or 6 sources of income. And the reason that I develop all these is to give me the freedom to quit anything I want whenever I want. The reality is, having one source of income is way too close to having none. I am able to quit my job and know that YouTube money will support me, or my stock portfolio will support me, my real estate portfolio will support me. So I know I'm not stressed and freaking out that I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm spreading them out, and I'm able to provide for myself, and I have the choice to quit if I want to quit. This is something that I do recommend for everyone, whether you want to quit or not. I do suggest not keeping all your eggs in one basket, because you never know. Your employer could, God forbid, fire you at any time. So it's always good to have multiple sources of income. And I will have a video linked up here that details the different 7 sources of income that you can have and how you can start developing your own. Some things you could do is look into starting a small business, do drop shipping, you could flip products, you could sell products that you already have, or sell your items that you already have. There's so many, or you could start investing. There are so many ways to develop multiple sources of income, and I highly suggest you do it whether you're quitting or not. Number 7, start networking. I know this seems like, I'm quitting, what does this have to do with being financially able to quit? But before you quit, if you are going to be looking for a new job one day, I really do suggest networking, maintaining your network that you already have, but also meeting new people in the industries that you want to get into. It is very important. There's a saying that says, your network is your net worth, and I truly believe this to be true. Like it is so true. The people in your network can really open doors for you. So before you quit, make sure you've started cultivating and developing your network, so that when an opportunity comes up, that they think of you, and then they recommend you for the job over somebody else. And even if you are quitting to do YouTube, for example, and you're quitting to do something that isn't related to your old job, networking is still very important. For example, I made sure that I'm going to be cultivating my network with people at my old job, people that I've met throughout, because I still do speaking engagements, and these corporations are people that I would love to do speaking engagements for, right? Or I do a lot of things, and I know that there are synergies with people in my network. I may not be working in the corporate world anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't be a contractor. That doesn't mean they can't hire me for a speaking engagement. That doesn't mean they can't hire me to make content for them, right? So there are always lots of opportunities, and I want you to tap into every single opportunity that is in your network. So make sure before you quit, you start networking. After you quit, you continue networking. The last thing that I will say is before you quit, or actually I guess this is during your while you're quitting, make sure that you are quitting on good terms. I can't stress this enough. I feel like a lot of people just quit their jobs and they're like, okay, I'm done with this place. I hate these people. I'm never talking to them again. And of course, there's some situations where you just have to cut ties completely. But if it's not that horrible situation, make sure that you leave your job on good terms. It is very important. Just like your network is your net worth, the people that you work with are like they have worked with you directly. They can vouch for you in situations in the future, right? So if you don't leave on good terms, you're basically burning a bridge, and you never know. This world is very small. You could be interviewing at a company one day and they say, oh, you work at this company? I know someone at this company. And then they go and ask someone at your old company about you. And then that person only has bad things to say because you left on bad terms. You left them without doing a transition document. You left them without giving 2 weeks notice, things like that. So I would say before you leave any place, make sure that you're leaving on good terms. If you want to watch a video about that, let me know. I can make a video on how I left my company on good terms. So I hope this video was helpful. If you are planning on quitting your job, I hope that you're not just going to quit and like have no plan or anything. I hope that you will be wise and follow some of these tips. As I said, when I quit my job, I made sure that I had 25K in stocks that I was willing to cash out if I needed the money. I made sure that I had an emergency fund that covered some of my living expenses. I made sure that I used every single one of my benefits so that if I needed some medical care or dental care, I already did it before I left. And I made sure to maintain all connections with my coworkers because that was something that was very important to me. Don't just quit because the people on the internet are quitting. Be wise, do you, and I hope that if you are quitting, that the journey ahead of you is good and it's smooth for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!